Imagine waking up one morning to breaking news. Tensions in the South China Sea have escalated to a boiling point. China has launched aggressive moves against Philippine-held territories in the West Philippine Sea. The question immediately rises: who will stand with the Philippines in its darkest hour? Who will come to its defense if a larger conflict unfolds? This is not just a hypothetical scenario. With the growing militarization of the South China Sea, the building of artificial islands, and repeated standoffs between Chinese and Philippine vessels, experts warn that the risk of confrontation is real. But here's the hopeful reality: the Philippines is not alone. Thanks to defense treaties, long-standing alliances, and shared strategic interests, multiple nations are ready to come to the aid of Filipinos if China launches a full-scale attack. Today, we dive deep into the 10 countries most likely to defend the Philippines if China attacks. This isn't just speculation. It's rooted in history, military agreements, geopolitics, and the undeniable fact that the Philippines' location makes it one of the most strategic pieces of territory in Asia. From powerful allies like the United States and Japan, to regional partners like Australia and South Korea, to even unexpected nations with economic and political ties, these countries would play a crucial role in any conflict that threatens Philippine sovereignty. Before we begin, let's remember this. The Philippines may be a smaller nation compared to China, but its value to the world lies in its people, its geography, and its courage. And when the time comes, the global community will not ignore it. Let's take a journey through history, strategy, and the global balance of power to uncover the nations that will stand with the Philippines in the face of aggression. First, we start with the most obvious yet most powerful ally, the United States of America. For over 70 years, the United States and the Philippines have been bound by the Mutual Defense Treaty of 1951. This treaty is crystal clear. If either country is attacked in the Pacific, the other will come to its defense. In recent years, Washington has repeatedly reaffirmed that this includes Philippine forces, vessels, and aircraft in the South China Sea. U.S. defense officials have stated multiple times that any attack on Philippine ships or troops will trigger America's defense commitments. And it's not just talk. The U.S. maintains a military presence in the region, with bases in Japan, Guam, and rotational access to Philippine facilities under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. American aircraft carriers, submarines, and fighter jets frequently conduct patrols in the West Philippine Sea, sending a message to China that aggression will not go unanswered. Beyond military strength, the U.S. has deep cultural and historical ties with the Philippines. Millions of Filipino Americans live and work in the United States, creating a bond that goes beyond politics. In any crisis, the U.S. will be the first and strongest line of defense for the Philippines. But America will not be alone. Japan, one of the most advanced military powers in Asia, has been steadily increasing its cooperation with the Philippines. Although Japan's post-war constitution limits its military to self-defense, recent reforms have allowed Tokyo to expand security ties. In 2016, Japan transferred surveillance planes and patrol vessels to the Philippines, helping monitor Chinese activities. In 2023, discussions began on a reciprocal access agreement that would allow Japanese and Philippine forces to train and operate more closely together. Japan sees China's aggression not just as a Philippine problem, but as a threat to its own security. After all, Japan itself has territorial disputes with China over the Senkaku Islands. The more China expands, the more Japan is endangered. This shared concern makes Japan a natural ally in defending the Philippines. Next comes Australia, another close partner. Australia has been a consistent supporter of freedom of navigation in the South China Sea. Its Navy regularly joins exercises with the Philippines and the United States. Canberra has also signed a visiting forces agreement with Manila, which allows Australian troops to train on Philippine soil. Australia knows that if China dominates the South China Sea, it threatens vital trade routes that connect Australia to the rest of the world. Nearly 60% of Australia's trade passes through these waters. So defending the Philippines is not just about solidarity, it's about protecting Australia's own economic survival. Moving north, South Korea is another strong candidate. While its main security concern remains North Korea, South Korea has a special relationship with the Philippines. Filipinos fought alongside South Koreans in the Korean War, cementing a bond that Seoul has never forgotten. Today, South Korea supplies the Philippines with advanced military equipment, from fighter jets to naval ships. And there's another factor. South Korea depends heavily on maritime trade. If the South China Sea falls under Chinese control, South Korea's economy would be strangled. That's why Seoul will not stand by idly if China attacks the Philippines. Another strong supporter is India. Though geographically distant, India has been increasingly vocal against China's aggression in Asia. As part of the Quad alliance with the US, Japan, and Australia, India has a strategic interest in keeping the Indo-Pacific free and open. New Delhi has also strengthened defense ties with Manila, offering missiles and naval equipment. For India, standing with the Philippines is not just about protecting a partner, it's about containing China, its own rival in the Himalayas and the Indian Ocean. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and this logic applies strongly to India's support for the Philippines. We also cannot ignore the United Kingdom. As a former colonial power in Asia with a strong naval tradition, the UK has been re-engaging in the Indo-Pacific. British warships have sailed through the South China Sea, challenging China's expansive claims. The UK is also a close ally of the US, and by extension, a supporter of Philippine security. France, too, has shown commitment. With territories in the Pacific such as New Caledonia and French Polynesia, France has a vested interest in keeping the region stable. French naval vessels frequently patrol the South China Sea, and Paris has openly criticized China's militarization of disputed islands. Another key partner is Vietnam. Although Vietnam has its own disputes with the Philippines, both nations face the same threat from China. In fact, Vietnam has fought deadly clashes with China over the South China Sea. In times of crisis, Vietnam and the Philippines may put aside differences to stand united against a common enemy. Regional solidarity, under ASEAN, will also push Vietnam to lend support. And finally, Taiwan. While not officially recognized as a country by the Philippines, Taiwan shares cultural, economic, and geographic proximity. Taiwan itself is under constant threat from China. If war breaks out, Taiwan may find itself fighting alongside the Philippines, since their survival is intertwined. Chinese control of the South China Sea would encircle Taiwan, so defending Philippine territory indirectly defends Taiwan too. These 10 nations, the United States, Japan, Australia, South Korea, India, the United Kingdom, France, Vietnam, and Taiwan, form a powerful network of potential defenders. Some are bound by treaties, others by shared interests, and still others by the simple need to stop China's expansion. But beyond military alliances, there is something deeper at play: the moral force of the Filipino people. The Philippines has always been resilient, from colonial struggles to natural disasters. The world has seen how Filipinos fight for freedom, democracy, and dignity. This spirit inspires other nations to come to its aid, knowing that defending the Philippines means defending values that transcend borders. If China were to attack, the conflict would not be a battle between two nations alone. It would be a clash between freedom and domination, between sovereignty and expansionism. And in that clash, the Philippines would not stand alone. Filipinos can take heart knowing that when push comes to shove, the world is watching and the world will act. The Philippines is not just a small country in Southeast Asia. It is a vital partner, a courageous people, and a nation worth defending. So the next time you hear about confrontations in the West Philippine Sea, remember this. The Philippines may look small compared to China's military machine, but it carries the weight of history, alliances, and international solidarity. In times of crisis, the world will rise to defend it. Because the Philippines is more than a place on the map. It is a symbol of resilience, a beacon of freedom, and a friend that the world will not abandon.